Hey, so Levi and Evan are testing out our Tim Nickerson's Swole 30 or Swole 60, Swole 90 program. We haven't run it in quite some time, so they're going back through and giving me some good feedback. So the first question they got, Levi comes home and he says, so let me back up. If you go to our site, or if you're interested, if you have a teenager looking to get big, this program, Swole 60, that our CrossFit gym, CrossFit Garage, is offering in the summer is for them. It is not about fitness. It is not about athletic prowess. It is about getting your kid big because they're small. So if you've got a small kid who wants to get big, Swole 60. Tim Nickerson made this up. Well, he didn't make it up. He took some good stuff, put it together. But it involves lifting and eating. So they're starting and giving me some feedback. And the first thing he said is, Dad, when am I ever going to work on my core? I'm like, okay, great question. So every great question, if you want the really good answer, it should be, well, it depends, right? It's ... I don't know. So I asked him, I like to answer questions with questions. It really irritates him. So I said, okay, so what do you think your core is? When you say core, what do you mean? He's like, and he's touching his stomach. He's like, core. I'm like, you mean when you take off your shirt, you want your abs to really show? He's like, yeah, big eyes. That's what I want. I'm like, okay, so go research what your core is in terms of working out. I'm sure if you, there's your core in Buddhism. I don't know. There's a core, Qi, Wei, there's all that stuff. But in working out, what is the core, right? And I said, and then go research what sit-ups will do for you. And then also do a little research on how to find your abs. So typically everybody has abdominal muscles. They're just hidden under fat. So if you want your abs to show, what's the saying? Abs are made in the kitchen, not the gym. So yeah, you probably want to do some sit-ups here and there. But fix your eating. That's what makes your abs show. Your abs show because the muscles are there and the fat's not covering the ridges, right? So anyway, it's a funny question, and it's a question that I probably wouldn't have thought of. Like, hey, when am I going to work my core? And he means stomach. And so I said, buddy, well, what do you think a back squat's going to do? He's like, my back squat, that's my legs and something. I said, okay, next time you're at the gym and you're going to do your back squats, first one, take a big deep breath, hold it, squeeze everything down there, your core, and then lift. The next one, when you're at the top, blow all your air out and try to lift and tell me which one's harder. So anyway, he's still going to do that experiment, but he got the picture. So CrossFit, as well as many sports, are core to extremity. So if you look at the natural position of somebody shooting a basketball or swinging a golf club or starting off on the starting blocks for a sprint or swimming or kicking a soccer ball, right? The hinge point, the hip flexor, hip area, delivers a power outward towards your hand. So shooting a basketball, you're going to open up your hips, you're going to jump, and then you're going to finish with your arm, right? Swinging a golf club, your hips come around, they're starting to open up, and then your rest of your arms come around. So that's core to extremity. When you do an Olympic lift, which is great, it's usually, not usually, it is core to extremity, right? When you do back squat, deadlift, bench press, and strict press maybe because you got to squeeze, but bench press, depends what you're doing there. But so really what he was asking is I need a definition of what core is, and what I really mean is I want my abs to pop, right? Hey, Doug. So that's what he was looking for. So your core, if you're going to do anything in sports and be great, you definitely need to work your core, right? And there's no really better way than back squat, right? So go research that. That's what we do. So Mark Ripito, Louis Simmons, all these guys that have put decades into this, have all the research there. You don't join my gym or any gym to get coaching, mentoring, and accountability. You don't join for the pure sake of knowledge, because the knowledge is out there. Just go Google it. It's all there. You join a gym to get a coach so you have coaching, mentoring, and accountability. So everything out there is nearly free to get. The getting of information is so easy these days. The enacting on the information is so dang tough. Having somebody who's done it before is a great way to kickstart whatever you're doing. Coach or mentor, right? Okay, so the next question he had was, how can so few lifts get me big? I said, okay, so what do you mean by so few lifts? He's like, yeah, it's basically like 3-4 lifts, that's it, or movements. And what about calf raises? I'm like, great question. So do calf raises make you big? He's like, well, I mean, it increases your calf size. I'm like, interesting, does it? I know Eric Richards, as a kid, wanted big calves, and he did a ton of calf raises, never made his calves bigger. And then who's our buddy from Woodlands who's just got massive calves genetically, right? So it'll strengthen them. It doesn't always make things bigger. But what he was really asking is, what about body sculpting? And that's different. So bodybuilding, body sculpting is different than trying to get gains in lifting. So you do, they call them your power lifts for a reason, right? So Olympic lifts, power lifts are great for building strength and building size, picking up those gains. Doing forearm curls does nothing for those gains. Yeah, maybe you'll get bigger forearms, probably not, but maybe. Doing bicep curls, yeah, it'll probably make your biceps bigger, but weirdly, so does doing pull-ups or back squats. I mean, back squat it's like salt. It makes everything better except more salt, something like that. But anyway, you don't need a ton of lifts. And here's the other piece that he wasn't considering. How long do you want to spend in the gym? So in his head, he's like, I want to be big like the guys at Steve and Mike at All About Health. I mean, who doesn't? And those guys are huge. But they spend a lot of time in the gym. That's like an 8-hour job, right? And not just that. Then there's like, they're doing the competitions and things sometimes, right? So it's those guys are, maybe not those two guys, but in that world of bodybuilding, there's tanning, there's understanding water retention and how to deplete. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. It's not just lifting, but it's an 8-hour-a-day job. No kid is going to spend 8 hours in the gym. I mean, it's just never going to happen for them. So anyway, it's good to have those questions. There's no bad question. Ask. Let's find out, right? Had a parent today said, hey, what you're doing soccer or player evaluations for your soccer team. Yeah. He's like, what is that? Do I need that? Does my daughter need to have one of those? I'm like, that's a great question. I mean, no, she doesn't. Not if she doesn't want to. So what questions do you have? Like, I guess my club never did that before. Right? Ask a question. You get an answer. Anyway, so the lifts aren't complicated. They're not hard. There's a lot of not just theoretical science. There's experimental data throughout the decades for this stuff. So for the Swole 60, if your child is not entered into puberty, then probably nothing's going to really change for him. But if he also, and I say he, it's usually guys that do this because no one wants to be the tiny freshman. If they're not eating the way they're supposed to for this, which is disgustingly a lot, then they're not going to see the same sort of gains. You want to give your body all those materials, all right? So anyway, I'm actually going to do 2 videos today. One is for that Swole 60 program. Hey, Daryl. The next is for my soccer people because I want them to understand what we are going to do for the specific aspect of athletes, in this case, my soccer team and maybe the 2007s, that should be lifting now. What do I do and how do I do it and why? So different video. I'm going to do them back to back though.